Today's verse will be James 1:19. So, my dear brothers and sisters, get this straight. Every person should be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Human anger, you see, doesn't produce God's justice. So put away everything that is sordid, all that overflowing malice, and humbly receive the word which has been planted within you, and which has the power to rescue your lives. This one's tough because we are to be slow to speak and slow to become angry. I think for me, sometimes in the stress of the situation, in the heat of the accusations, I'm quick to respond instead of slow to speak. And I'm also sometimes quick to become angry, um, quick to defend myself. And God's telling us right here, slow to speak, slow to become angry, involving Him in these decisions, thinking about what's going on. And He says that human anger doesn't produce God's justice, that we need to humbly receive the word which has been planted within us and has the power to rescue our lives. So just by doing that, by trying to attain godly actions and doing just what He says, when things get rough and heated, we just have to need something to trigger. I just need something to trigger myself into sit back, take a deep breath, listen, just listen. Don't respond, just listen. When the response time comes, ask God, how am I supposed to respond to this? In a way that's honoring Him and still speaking truth. Not just getting run over by somebody, but speaking truth to them on easing it up, bringing peace to this chaotic world. Going on to the next verse. Verse 22. But be people who do the word, not merely people who hear it and deceive themselves. Someone who hears the word but doesn't do it, you see, is like a man who looks at his natural face in the mirror. He notices himself, but then he goes away and quickly forgets what he looked like. But the person who looks into the perfect law of freedom and goes on with it, not being a hearer who forgets, but a doer who does the deed, such a person is blessed in their doing. Don't just hear what is coming. Don't just hear what you read in the Bible and let it go in one ear and out the other, or think, oh yeah, I believe that, but not take it to heart. I think when I first became, my very first believed in God, my belief was, yeah, I believe there's a God. That was it. It didn't change my actions. It didn't change my life. I didn't dig into deeper knowing of who God was and why He loves me. Just like a little bit of belief in order to say I believed, like socially, instead of really deeply, yes, I absolutely believe in you, God. I want to know more. I want to know your character. I want to know why you sent your Son to die on the cross for me. And I want to try to understand why you love me, even though I don't deserve it. So I didn't dig deeper in that, and that's exactly what this is saying. Don't just hear it and not do anything. Hear it and apply it to your life and go and do it. It's not that hard to do. It just takes one step of when you hear something, take it to heart, work on it. Try to figure out how you can apply it in your life. This is James 1:26. If anyone supposes that they are devout and does not control their tongue, but rather deceives their heart, such a person's devotion is futile. As far as God the Father is concerned, pure, unsullied devotion works like this. You should visit orphans and widows in their sorrow and prevent the world leaving its dirty smudge on you. Chapter 1 ends with more great savory scoops. If you call yourself a Christian and don't control your tongue, it's warning you here, you are not. You're deceiving your heart, and that your devotion is futile. And this is really tough because we can't be perfect, and we're gonna fail. But we also have to strive to not fail. Strive to control that tongue. The tongue is powerful. Our words are powerful. It can wreak havoc. It can start wars. It can break people down. It can build people up. So the tongue is a hard thing to tame, and it's another thing that I come from the construction background, and it's rough and tumble and vulgar words and not nice people sometimes. And growing out of that after I became a Christian was took some time. It was a slow process. And ultimately, I had to just tell God, I can't do this on my own. It feels like these words are ingrained in my head to just pop out every time I see something, and when I get in those environments, I or had a tendency to go back to those not good words, and I had to really just rely on God to say, help me to not be vulgar and not attacking back when somebody attacks me, and really to just sit for a second with it and be okay with not following the crowd, not doing what everybody else was doing, not being in that rage of somebody's cut me down, I have to cut them back down, and it's a process, and I'm not perfect, and still sometimes lose it, but I also am working on slowing down and controlling my tongue and becoming better. So that's a really it's a really tough one. And then it ends with uses unsullied devotion works like this. You should visit orphans and widows in their sorrow and prevent the world from heaving its dirty smudge on you. So it goes right with that controlling the tongue and not trying to fit in there with the world, that we need to act in a way that the people around us are surprised by how we handle things in a peaceful way and not reacting in a negative way, or not, you know, fighting fire with fire, but cooling things down. And that's like the first century Christians were known for that. They were known, the people, there's a lot of accounts, written accounts of from non-Christians that talked about Christians being crazy by loving their enemies, loving people, caring for each other, and just helping each other out. And that's something we should strive for. Something that we want the culture here now to see and hear. That we want them to say, "Who are they? Why? Why are you doing this? Why aren't you just being selfish and taking the money and run? Or why are you helping me when I don't even know you?" We want the world to react in a way that sees our love, that can say, "Oh, you must be a Christian because of your actions, because of your care, because of your love." That's the Savory Scoop for the day. We'll start next time on chapter 2. Thank you.